And you just click got it. All right. Good morning, and welcome to the Coffee with the Coalition with the Nebraska Culture Change Coalition. So excited to be hanging with you. I'm Denise Hyde, and I have been a member of the leadership team of the coalition since the founding days, where we were sitting in Mahoney State Park at the restaurant there having a conversation about should we start a culture change coalition. And all these years later, we're still going. Kelly Spar is the main person leading the coalition. I'm so proud of her. And just an aside, in case you wanted to know, we have put in for a grant proposal for another round of our dementia care grant project that we had going during the pandemic. Actually, it happened during the pandemic. But we've put in to do it again. So if that's something on your radar screen, we're looking to get some CMP funding to rerun that project. Hopefully we're going to get approved soon. So we're excited about that. But we are here today to talk about Eden membership. So this is a new thing that we launched last fall at the Eden Alternative. And I'm going to kind of walk you through everything and explain it all. And then I'll do a little show and tell so you can kind of see it in real time. And then we'll do some questions and answers. And I believe I've been asked to try to keep this to a half an hour because time is precious. So if I'm moving too fast, give me a heads up in the chat box, because I can talk fast. I got no problem with that. But I don't want to go too fast. So my new role at the Eden Alternative is the membership engagement guide. So it is my job to be out there talking about membership. And I am super excited after 14 years at the Eden Alternative and years working with communities implementing the Eden Alternative before that. I am really excited about what we've created and the potential that it has to offer. So what is Eden membership? Well, it's a community model, so it's designed to be layers and layers of community for implementing person-centered or person-directed care, whichever terminology you like to use, and to make it more accessible so that it isn't a big deal. Anybody that wants to implement person-centered, person-directed care, we've got the resources to help you do that. It's really easy to join. We built autonomy into the membership so that you can choose what you want to implement. So you're implementing things that are meaningful and relevant to you and the people that you support every day. And nobody's trying to tell you what you have to do and when you have to do it. You can progress as you are motivated and able based on capacity and resources and energy, competing priorities, all those things that get in the way of progress. You can see value very quickly, and I'm going to explain that as we go along. But we've tried to rate some things so that you can see, oh, this has high impact, and you can go right for that if that's what you want to work on. And then we have multiple ways to engage in the community, and that is going to expand. We're just getting started, and we're looking for members to give us feedback. And we're hoping to get to some more specialized groups meetings and that kind of stuff. So you can, CEOs can all be meeting together, and nurses can all be meeting together, and CNAs could all be meeting together. And I'm hoping to develop that within the membership as we go. So what we call our membership platform is the Eden Navigator. And within the Eden Navigator, all members have access to resources, which are both written and video. And they're just tools and guidance and little educational pieces and snippets out of trainings and stuff we have just to kind of keep people fresh and energized. And we're constantly building that resources as we go along. We have tracks and practices. So before membership was launched last fall, we had the Eden Registry. You may have heard of the Eden Registry. And for Eden Registry members, since 2010, we had something called the Path to Mastery to help them implement change. And we changed it up. So for membership, we literally tore it apart. I had Post-it notes with my teammate all over my kitchen on the walls and the cabinets, and we tore them all apart, and we created 12 tracks and multiple practices. We actually have 241 practices. Has not all been released because holy cow, that's too much to process. But I'll explain more about it. But the tracks and practices are implementation. It's like, what do you change? How do you change it? That kind of stuff. The Eden Navigator includes the Eden community. This is like a really private Facebook group. So you can't share into Facebook or from Facebook to it. So it's really private. It's just for members. But we're posting things in there regularly to inspire thought and conversation and ideas on how to implement and ideas to implement. We're looking for stories. We want the members to be posting things, asking questions, engaging with each other, commenting on posts and sharing information. So we're still working on the engagement piece of that. But it's coming. It's coming. And I think it's exciting. I love to go out there every day and just see what's going on. Part of the Eden Navigator includes a reminder of what your benefits are as a Eden member, and I'm going to talk about those later on. And then there's opportunities to meet others and learn. So right now I'm doing some like little 30-minute sessions called Talking Tracks and Practices, as a way to just get people, if you've got questions about what's going on, you can come. I'm here available for 30 minutes in these odd time frames just to come on and ask questions and get advice and information. And then we have more scheduled gatherings happening right now. It's usually an hour. There's one actually happening tomorrow. And it is on Principle 7 and the role of medical treatment and medications and stuff, and really talking about how we do with the clinical service side of things. And we'll do those regularly. And then I'm looking to get into doing some learning stuff, some webinars and stuff specifically for members. So that's coming as well. So that's what's available. So you log into one location, all this stuff is there for you. So when you log in, this is what we call your dashboard looks like. So if you are a general organizational member, you would get in and you would see that you have one icon that is your resources. And you have another one that is your tracks and practices. And then down below that is the icon for the Eden community. So that's kind of a preview of what it looks like. So that's the Eden Navigator. And so let's talk a little bit about tracks and practices. So when you go to the icon, when you click on this general member tracks and practices, you're going to see that there are 12 tracks. So like I said, we had Post-it notes all over my kitchen and we organized them into what we call themes. So we have a leadership track, person first language, education, employee practices. So these are all kinds of things you can do to make life better for the employees. Clinical services, data copy and goals, one of my favorite ones. Communication, always a challenge. Loneliness, helplessness, and boredom, which is our principle number 1. Rhythms of daily life, like how do you create a real person-centered, person-directed rhythm of daily life with the elders? Institutional trappings, how do you get rid of all that medical model stuff? Food and dining, and then how do you create community? You've got all these people living and working together. How do you create community within that? So those are the 12 tracks. And then, like I said, across those 12 tracks, we have 241 practices, but not all of them are available yet. But I wanted to kind of see what the themes were for the tracks. And then I apologize, this isn't really huge, but if you were to click on that icon that said general member tracks and practices, this is what the inside of that looks like. So there's some information about, how you use these tracks and practices and what does that look like. And then you can see there's leadership, here's his communication, person first language, education, and there's little arrows. So when you open up the arrows, you can see the practices that are posted within them. And for every practice, we laid it out like a performance improvement project. So we rated them, we wrote down the practice, we wrote why you want to do the practice, what are some assumptions, some things you want in place before you start, what's some baseline measurements you want to do, here's a suggested implementation process, here's some tracking measures you want to do. And then there's places to capture your story and who was involved and all that kind of stuff. And then we rated every practice on 3 things. We rated them based on effort. So based on what we know from talking to communities for 30 years now, what do we know about how challenging it is to implement this practice in terms of the time, the energy, the resources, and the complexity of it? And then we rated it based on impact. So what people tell us about what's the outcome of doing this, what does that look like? So how much positive impact does it create for employees, elders and residents, families, volunteers, and others on the care partner team? And then we rated it based on visibility. Now, visibility is a little tricky because some things, like if you get rid of the nursing station, that's very visible. If you are thinking differently about how you approach your role and interact with the elders, it's visible, but you got to kind of be looking for it because it's a lot of internal conversation that happens. So visibility is different based on the practices, just on whether or not it actually like you could see it or touch it kind of thing. So what I love about this is that we've never done this before. And so now you can go through, and so the practices are all rated. So you can say, okay, well, we have these many competing priorities going on in our organization. So we want something that's probably low effort right now, but it would be nice if it had a really high positive impact. And visibility right now, it's okay if it's not very visible. So you can have a conversation with your team about where your capacity and energy is now, and then you can be looking through the practices to figure out which you want to implement. Now, I should tell you that within this resource, these tracks and practices, you can't see it because I'll have to show it to you in a minute, but there is a printable form. So you can print off all of these tracks and practices on one piece of paper, not on one piece of paper, but on paper. So you can lay it out and see everything at once. Because some people need that visual and they don't want to have to go through one by one. So just know that there's a printable version of all of this that they can print out. So, okay, membership wise, we have two different kinds of membership. One is organizational membership. And so there are benefits that go to the organization as a whole and to the many people within that organization. I apologize, I got a little typo there. So if the organization joins, if XYZ community joins as an Eden organizational member, they can share access to the Eden Navigator and all the stuff within it to every single employee in that community. And they can use their discounts for every single employee in that community to get a discount on training and that kind of stuff. So you can sign up as many people under your organizational membership as you want. And then the second one is individual membership, and that's available to people who may not be in an organization, or they might, who knows, but they want to be connected and they want to learn about the Eden Alternative and receive the benefits and that kind of stuff. And so you can just join as an individual member as well. And individual membership is $29 a year. We wanted to keep the price really reasonable, so anybody in any role could join, elders, family members, that kind of stuff. We wanted to keep it really reasonable. Like everybody, like all the organizational members, they have resources available to them that are both documents or written resources, but there's also video content that's available. They get discounts. They get access to the Eden community where they can be posting and commenting and learning and interacting with other members. They can come to, they're invited to the gatherings, the talk and tracks sessions I have, that kind of stuff. And then we just released about a month ago some individual member tracks and practices. So what can I do, regardless of where I'm in relationship with somebody who needs support? What are some things that I could be working on to be more person-centered, person-directed care in my interactions? So we just started with 6. We're going to be building out more as we go. But I'm kind of excited about that because we haven't really, we talk about doing what you're doing differently, but now we can like give people some resources to help them do that. So that's individual membership. And then organizational membership, again, the tracks and practices and the resources, everything is based on our experience in working with hundreds of organizations over the last 30 years, implementing the Eden approach. We have learned from them that if they implement what we do and follow our principles, there's a greater employee, resident, and family satisfaction. You can create a culture that actually attracts and retains employees. Culture does have an impact on that. Again, the tracks and practices lead to quick successes. We believe through them you can meet and exceed regulatory requirements. And like I said, the digital workbooks for all the practices are laid out like a performance improvement project. So it's all pre-designed for you. You just modify it based on your needs and you're good to go. So it's a wonderful thing. So organizationally, there are 3 ways to engage as an organization. You can be a general member, which right now all organizations are joining as general members. You can choose to become a growth member, and you can choose to become a certified member. So general members have access to 21 practices across the 12 tracks. They have benefits, they have resources, they have the Eden community, they can engage in all the gatherings and stuff that we have. And then if you want to become a growth member, the expectation is that you've trained 10% of your employees as certified Eden associates, and that you're going to implement 2 new practices every year. And that will sustain you as a growth member. And then if you want to become a certified member, which we're going to say you're on. We're going to put your logo up on our website and really brag about you a lot. Certified members, there's a little bit higher hurdle to get in terms of number of practices you need to do. You have to have 20% of your employees as certified Eden associates, and you need to have somebody come out and do a site visit every 3 years. And it's not a state survey. It's meant to be come out, we'll coach, show off, brag. We want to hear all about what you're doing and celebrate with you. And so it's wonderful. So the annual fee for all 3 types of members is the same. It's based on elder capacity, or if you're like a home and community based organization, it's based more on employee capacity. So you choose, and the pricing is tiered based on the size of your organization. So somewhere between $195 to $995 annually. And like I said, the difference is training certified Eden associates. You get more benefits as you move from general to growth to certified. Growth and certified members have to implement 2 new practices annually. There is no expectation on general membership. And then certified members arrange for a site visit every 3 years. Did somebody have a question? Okay. And welcome, Don. All right, so this is what the benefits look like. So individual members get 10% off of our self-study learning and live in person. And if they would want to bring consultants into their organization or whatever, there's 5% off on that. They get weekly content. Like I said, we're posting things out on the community. They have access to the community. We're going to get the webinars going. They have tracks and practices. They have an Eden Navigator, and they get a logo, dated logo that they can use. General members get a weekly content. They also get 10% off, 5% off consulting, weekly content, community access, webinars, tracks and practices, the Navigator. We're working towards data reports, not quite there yet. We're going to do a little changeover of what we've been doing in the past. And they also get a dated logo that they can use. Growth members get 15% off of training costs, 10% off consulting, and then they also get a certificate. They get listed on our website. So we have a map, and you can search for our growth members. And we are making arrangements with one risk insurance company to get discounts as being an Eden member. We're in the midst of getting that done. And then certified members get 20% off training, 10% off consulting, all the same things as growth members. But we're also working on some co-marketing opportunities with our certified members as well. So that's coming. So that's the list of benefits. So if you want to join, you're going to go to www.edenalt.org. Across the top, you're going to choose the item Eden membership. Read down through the page. There are green buttons there for joining, and just click on the appropriate green button. There's some information that we ask you to provide. You make the payment, and then jump in. Make the most out of your membership. You'll be hearing from me. And then we'll be asking you for feedback every now and then just to keep enhancing that membership experience. We expect this to grow and change, and everybody that's a part of the membership gets to help us do that. So that is my formal presentation. I do have a little show and tell if you want to, but right now, are there any questions or comments?
Hi, Denise. This is Jeff. So maybe 10 or 15 years ago, I became an Eden associate.
Right.
How does that play into this, if at all? Or is this something that's new and that goes away? Can you give me a little insight on that?
So Certified Eden Associate is a certificate that you get if you attend our either 3-day in-person training or the online. You complete the class, you are called a Certified Eden Associate. And we have a lot of orphaned Certified Eden Associates who never really had a way to connect with us. Unless they were part of an organization, then they got a way to connect with us. So we actually made individual membership as a way to help you once you finish that training. Now you're in and connected. Now we've got some tracks and practices, things you can be working on wherever you are supporting someone or just in your own life to improve your own attitudes about things. You get the discounts, you get all the stuff. So actually individual membership is a really great benefit we're offering to Certified Eden Associates.
Okay, and then being an architect where I'm not providing direct care in any way, does that matter, or am I still? Okay, good.
Oh no, we have some elders that have signed up. We have, family members, that kind of, all kinds of people can join as an individual member. Absolutely. And we're trying to keep it really open and broad in terms of what we're providing to individual members. And that's where member feedback really helps us make sure we're hitting the mark and meeting people's needs.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, great question. Anybody else? Any questions?
Denise, sure my mute is off. On your site, the Eden Alternative Domains of Well-Being,
Mhm.
and I'm looking at it. So identity, connectedness, security, autonomy, et cetera, et cetera. Is there any measurement for these various domains noted here?
Yep. Yep. So we think, the 10 principles that we've always espoused are still there, and they are kind of the framework that helps us get to this person-centered, person-directed care. But the goal is well-being for all. So employees, elders, everything. So yes, those 7 domains are great for care planning, problem solving, trying to address personal expressions of someone living with dementia, trying to help employees have a good way of life, that kind of stuff. So yes, and we created tools to assess well-being. So if you become a member, those are available to you. And we have a tool for employees, for elders, and for family members. And there's a series of statements. They respond to those statements, and then it gets them a score as to where they are for the domains as well as overall. And it's a great way to track individual well-being over time. So I could see that tool being something like, it's time for Joe's quarterly care plan meeting. So we're going to redo that assessment with Joe to see where his well-being is at today. Or we've got a new employee starting, so we're going to assess their well-being now. And then through the experience, we're going to reassess and see whether or not we're actually strengthening their well-being or diminishing their well-being, and get some feedback from them. So there's lots of ways that we've incorporated the well-being into a lot of things. So yes, it is a resource available to members, the well-being white paper that explains it. It got some really great ideas on how to use them. And then also the tools to assess. And then I'm also available to help if you want to do that. So yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. I love the domains of well-being. I love what people are doing with them. Just really cool stuff. Really cool stuff. Okay, so do you guys want a show and tell?
You bet.
Okay. So we'll go back here. So this is the dashboard. So we'll go into resources. So this is what it looks like. So if you click on the down arrows, then things open. So this gives you your list of benefits. Just to remind, it's got your coupon code in there and all that kind of stuff. And then these are the resources. So you've got a 1-pager of the 10 principles, a 1-pager of the domains of well-being. Okay, the domains of well-being white paper, those assessment tools aren't in there, Mike. I'm sorry. I'm going to put that down because that's probably something we should make available. The learning circle. And then there's just some different tools. So you can see we've been adding some little tools. What is person-centered care? What does that mean? We've got a tool on the rhythm of daily life. And then we have some video resources. So we have some clips from different trainings that we've got available. I'm going to try to get off of this before it makes
when it's new territory, when people are out of their...
So this is Jill talking. And then if you wanted to become a growth member, there's instructions on how do you become a growth member. And there's a downloadable document that you can use as well.
We are excited that you want to become a...
Yeah, it's me. And then there's information if you want to move on and become a certified member that explains how you do that. So that's what's in the resources. And then if you go back to the dashboard and we go into tracks and practices, So there's a couple little videos to get you started to kind of explain what they are, what are the tracks and practices, how to use them. But this is actually a digital workbook. I really love it. So you can be filling it in real time, put in the name of the organization. The practice I have up right now is executive and operational leaders in the governing body have reached consensus to implement person-directed care approach. Low effort, huge impact, medium visibility. Why do you want to do it? What are some assumptions, some things that probably should be in place to do it? And then you can just check them off as you get them done, which is kind of cool. And then we have some baseline data. So here are some things we think you might want to measure before you get started on this. And you can always create your own measures and fill in the boxes. The boxes get bigger as you fill them in, which I think is really nice for a workbook. And then we have an implementation process outlined. So there's different steps. And again, check them off as you've got them done, adapt them to fit your organization. But based on, again, stories and stories and stories we've heard from people, this is kind of the process that seems to work. And then you can actually write out your implementation story. And again, as you fill it in, the box gets bigger, but this is where you can keep that record. And then measuring outcomes. So when you get to this point, some of these measures are measures of the implementation process, and some of them are sustainability measures. Sometimes it's a blank during blank time, blank percent of operational leaders and managers recommitted to the Eden alternative or person-directed care approach during blank time period. So just some things for ongoing measures that you can be doing. Again, you can add other measures if you want to, and then you can capture who contributed to it, to implementation, any notes you have. And then at this point, you can download it. And then you can save a copy, share a copy, whatever you want to do from there. But we are encouraging people to make this your working document so that it's always up to date. We're encouraging people that once they join, create access that is shared. So the access, the login is a username and a password, and the username is an email address. So some organizations are creating kind of a generic email and a generic password, and then just the people they want to see and act on this material get access to it. So they can control who can get in there and be playing with it. So you don't have 100 people going in there and adding and changing and working on it. There's a way we'll give people 2 links. So one link gets them into everything. So the membership, tracks and practices, the resources, and the Eden community. And there's another way to just give people access to the resources in the Eden community, and they don't get into the tracks and practices. So we've done our best to try to keep it really clean for you guys. But I love this. This is something we've not offered before, and I'm so excited. It was just really fun to do the brain dump and figure out, what do we know from people that have been implementing these different practices and put that all into a workable document. So we tried to lay it out like a performance improvement project so that, like, if you decide to implement it, then there's your one of your 2 that you need if you need those every year. So that's your little sneak peek show and tell. Anything else? Questions, comments? Okay. Well, thank you guys for your time. If you're interested, you reach out to me or go out to the website and get connected. Would love to see you become members, but that's not the purpose of this. I just wanted to let you know this was available. And you can reach out and ask any questions anytime.
Thanks, Denise. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.